Hey everyone, and welcome to Skein Spider. It is now, thankfully, spring here in Australia, and to celebrate that fact, we're going to be making these little strawberry mice here today, which will have to tide me over until my strawberry bushes grow. But if you would like to make one of your own, grab your hooks and let's get started. To make a strawberry mouse, you're going to need a 3.5mm hook, scissors, stitch markers, a needle, pins, some stuffing, a pair of 12mm safety eyes, as well as 8-ply yarn in 3 different colours. You're going to need green and 2 other colours, one for the body and one for the seeds. If you would like, you can also have a pipe cleaner on hand to insert into the tail to make it bendy. We're going to start off by making the body of our mouse, and we do that by putting 6 single crochet in a magic circle. And if you're wondering why I have 2 strands of yarn here today, it's because the yarn I'm using up is actually a bit of scrap 4-ply I have, and because I need 8-ply, I'm just doubling up to give myself that. So you don't need to worry about doubling up if you've already got 8-ply yarn or whatever size yarn you want to make this in, it doesn't matter. So we're going to put 6 single crochet in our magic circle. And 6, I'm just going to close that up. Round 2 is 6 increases, and an increase is just 2 single crochet in the same stitch. That means I'm going into the first stitch I did for round 1, I'm going to put a single crochet into that, and then I'm going back into the same stitch and doing a second, and that gives me my increase. I'm going to repeat this 5 more times, or 6 in total, for round 2. For round 3, I'm going to start off with 3 single crochet. Two and 3. And then in the next stitch, I'm going to do an increase. I'm going to repeat what I just did twice more, 3 single crochet, 1 increase, until I get to the end of the round. Round 4 is 4 single crochet, 1 increase, repeated 3 times. Round 5 is 5 single crochet and an increase, repeated 3 times. Round 6 is 6 single crochet and an increase, repeated 3 times. Round 7 is 7 single crochet and an increase, repeated 3 times. Round 8 is 8 single crochet and an increase, repeated 3 times. At the end of round 8, you should now have 30 stitches in your round, and then rounds 9 through to 13 are each going to be 30 single crochet. When you've finished round 13, just secure your end because we're going to insert the safety eyes. We're going to place the safety eyes between rounds 6 and 7. you'll want to start at round 1 here and just count your way out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So between 6 and 7 is here. I'm going to insert the first eye. And it doesn't really matter where you insert them because our mouse is a circular shape. There's not really a top and a bottom. So just insert them wherever you like. So we've got the first one in. Then we're going to count 6 stitches across. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then in the 7th, we're going to place the second eye. So we have a space of 6 stitches between our 2 eyes. And then we're just going to pop those backs on. After you've inserted the safety eyes, we're going to continue on with round 14. Round 14 begins with 8 single crochet. 1, and 8, and then we're going to do an invisible decrease. To do that, we're going to go under the front loops of the next 2 stitches, and the front loop is the part of the stitch that's closest to you here. We're going to go under the first front loop, under the second front loop, yarn over, pull through both of those front loops, and at this stage you should have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over for a final time and pull through both of those front loops. So that's how we do an invisible decrease. We're going to repeat 8 single crochet, 1 decrease, twice more to finish off the round. Round 15 is just 27 single crochet. Round 16 is 7 single crochet and a decrease repeated 3 times. Round 17 is 2 single crochet and a decrease repeated 6 times. When you finished round 17, just secure your end again because this time we're going to stop and add the stuffing. When all the stuffing's in, we're going to go on to round 18, which is 1 single crochet, 1 decrease, repeated 6 times. Round 19 is going to be our final round, and it's just 6 decreases. When you've done round 19, we're just going to cut our yarn, and for this next step you're going to need to grab your needle. You're going to thread the tail that we've just cut through your needle, and then we're going to close up this hole here. To do that, you're going to go under the front loops of the last 6 stitches, start behind the front loop, and you're going to push the needle under it and forward towards you, and just repeat this for all 6 stitches. And 6, pull on the yarn to close that hole. And then we're just going to weave this end back into the body to secure it. Before we go on to crochet the other body parts, we're going to add the detail to our little mouse. The first thing we're going to do is shape the eyes. This part is optional, but I personally think it makes the mouse look a bit cuter, so I would recommend that you do it. What you're going to need to do is grab your needle, and you're going to thread that needle with a length of yarn the same color as you crocheted the body in. You're going to insert that needle somewhere into the body, doesn't really matter where, and then you're going to push your needle out through the stitch, out through a stitch that's close to one of your eyes. So I'm doing this eye first, and you can see where my needle is emerging. You want to keep it on the inside of the eye, so this space here, and for the next one, this space here. If you push your needle out through the outside of the eye, it will still work, you'll just get a different effect. It'll pull the eyes in from the back rather than from the front. So I'm going to pull my needle through and just keep an eye on this tail end of yarn, because you're going to pull that until you have just a little bit left hanging outside the body here. Just enough that you can tie a knot with it later on. Once you've done that, you're going to jump one stitch either across or down. It depends where exactly you emerged. So again, we want to pull the eyes in from this inside point here. So we're going to pull in like that. So I'm going to be jumping one stitch down. If you emerged a little bit further down your eye, you might want to jump one stitch up. So I'm going down one stitch, and you want to try and get your needle as close to your safety eye as you can. So one stitch down. From here, I'm going to push my needle across the body, and I want to emerge from the same spot on the opposite eye as I did for my first stitch here. So I'm going to push that needle out through the exact same row, as close to the safety eye as I can possibly get. So I'm going to pull that tight. From here, I'm going to jump one stitch down again, close to the safety eye as I possibly can. And this time I'm going to go straight across the body and push my needle out of a stitch that's not near the eye. So that one will do, doesn't matter which one, as long as it's away from the eye. And now I'm gently going to pull on my yarn, and as I do, you can see the head starts to slowly pull in. To make this first eye move, we're going to pull on the yarn we left hanging outside of the body. So I'm going to pull that, and you're just going to keep gently tugging on each of these ends until you've pulled the eyes in to a point that you think looks cutest. So I'm not going to pull it in too much, but I like how that looks. Once you're happy with the position of your eyes, you're going to take your needle, insert it straight back into the stitch that we've just come out from. So you want to go in the same stitch, and then you're going to push it out of the original stitch that we worked into where we left our tail hanging. Now I have two ends hanging out of the same stitch. I'm just going to tie a knot in those, and you want to do this fairly tightly so your eyes maintain their shaping. And then you're just going to snip off the excess yarn and push that knot straight back into the body. And now our eyes have a little bit of shape. We're going to add the seeds. For that, you're going to need a length of yarn in whatever color you plan to do the seeds with. And I'm going with yellow here. So thread that through your needle, and we're going to start off very similarly to how we did the shaping for the eyes. Go into your body at some point, and you're going to emerge from another stitch. Pull through until you leave just a short tail hanging. And then all we're going to do is go one stitch down to make the seeds. So from this, I've gone one stitch down, and now I'm going to go across to another point in the body where I'm going to do another seed. So I'm going to pull this yarn tight so my little seed lays flat, one stitch down, across to another point in the body, pull tight, one stitch down, across to another point. And you're just going to keep doing this all the way around the body, slowly working your way down towards the nose. If the length of yarn you've cut is too short to do the entire body, what you're going to do is push your needle back out of the original stitch we worked into where our tail is hanging, and finish off like we did for the eye shaping here. You're going to tie a knot in your yarn and cut off the excess yarn and push that knot back into the body. You'll have to repeat the process again if you need more yarn, so start further down the body, cut a new length of seed color yarn, and just continue. You may even have to do that 3 or 4 times. It depends how long how long a piece of yarn you've cut. So I'm running out of yarn. I'm just going to push my needle out through the original stitch where my tail is, tie that off. And then I'm just going to repeat the whole process again with a new length of yarn. Okay, now that the seeds are done, pushing the needle through the body like that does tend to press some of the stuffing out, so take a moment just to clean up some of that if you need to. Just get some of that. And then the last thing we're going to do to the body is add the nose. And that is going to be done the same way we've done everything else, by cutting a length of yarn. If I can find my end. There we go. Threading that through your needle, working into the body at some point, and then just adding the nose on with yarn. Just going to make a small nose between rounds 1 and 2 here. And then when your nose is done, just work out of the original stitch, just like we've done previously. Don't think I went through the stitch cleanly there, so this might be a bit of a hassle. Come on. Close enough. And then we're just tying off and hiding the knot. And with that, the body is all finished. We can go on to crocheting all the other pieces. The first part that we're going to make is the leaf, and for that you're going to need your green yarn. We're going to begin by doing 6 single crochet in a magic circle. For round 2, we're going to do 6 increases. Round 3 is going to be our final round, and all we're going to do is put a picot stitch in each of the stitches from round 2. To make a picot stitch, you're going to go into the next stitch, and then we're going to single crochet. At this point, we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. In the back bump of the first chain, we're going to do another single crochet, and the back bump is this little bump of yarn here behind the chain. So if you're looking at your chains from front on, the chains each look like a little V, but if you turn those over, there's a little bump of yarn at the back here. That's what we're going to be working into. So go into the back bump of chain number 1. And from that point, we're going to single crochet into stitch number 2. And this begins our second picot stitch. So we've done our single crochet, we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. Work into the back bump of the first chain, and in there you're going to do another single crochet. And from here I'm going to single crochet into stitch number 3. And repeat that process again, 3 chains, 1, 2, 3. Single crochet into the back bump of the first chain. And then you're just going to repeat this all the way around for 12 times. When you've done your final picot stitch, I'm just going to slip stitch back into our final stitch, which was stitch number 12 from round 2. And then I'm going to leave a tail so I can sew this onto the body later. Now we're going to crochet the tail. The tail also starts off with a magic circle, but this time we're going to be starting with 4 single crochet. Round 2 is also 4 single crochet. Round 3 is 1 increase followed by 3 single crochet. Rounds 4, 5 and 6 are each supposed to be 5 single crochet, but if you find it easier, you can just do 15 single crochet consecutively here. Round 7 is an increase and then 4 single crochet. From this point onwards, we're not going to be doing any more increases, and this is where you can customize your mouse a little bit if you would like. I'm going to be doing rounds 8 through to 17 as 6 single crochet each, or just 60 single crochet consecutively. However, if you would like to make your tail longer, you can add some additional rounds. If you would like to make your tail shorter, you can reduce those rounds. So I'm going to be doing 10 rounds of 6 single crochet. How many you would like to do for your mouse is entirely up to you. When you're done, we're just going to leave a tail of yarn for sewing on that too. And if you're using a pipe cleaner for your tail, go ahead and insert that now. The last pieces that we need to crochet are the ears. And we're going to begin those with 6 single crochet in a magic circle. And then we're just going to close that up. But from this point, we're not going to be working in the round. We're instead going to chain 1, turn our work, and work back in rows. So for row 2, we're going to do 1 single crochet, 1 increase, and we're going to repeat this 3 times. 1 single crochet, 1 increase, 1 single crochet, and 1 increase. And that's all we need to do for the ears. Once more, you're going to need to leave a tail for sewing. And after making that first, I'm just going to make a second ear quickly. With those done, we can begin assembling our little strawberry mouse. For that, you're going to need your needle. And the first piece that we're going to attach is going to be the leaf. We're going to put that on the back or behind the mouse or the top of the strawberry, whichever way you want to think of it. Just going to thread that in through my needle. And what I'm going to do is just push my needle through the backs of the stitches until I reach the stitches of round 2. You can use a pin here if you would like, but I don't think it's really necessary. I'm just going to sew the leaf on to the mouse between rounds 1 and 2. No, not 1 and 2. What was the last 2 rounds we did? I don't remember the numbers. Whatever the last 2 rounds we did, we're going to sew these on between those. And then when you finish sewing, we're just going to weave that end into the body and secure it. The next piece that we're going to sew on is the tail. If you're using a pipe cleaner, make sure you've put that in already. And what you can do is add a little bit of stuffing to the tail if you would like, but I don't think that's really necessary, so I'm just going to leave my tail as is. All we're going to do is sew the tail to the leaf that we've just put on, directly in the center here, over round 1 of the leaf. with that, we're going to do the same thing, just weave the end into the body to secure it. And finally, we're going to sew on the ears. With the ears, we do have this little tail end left over from the magic circle. What you can do before you attach them to the head is weave that in through the backs of the stitches, but what I prefer to do, just because I think it's a bit easier, is leave that tail end as it is, and then when the ear is sewn on, weave that end in through the body like we've done for all the other pieces that we needed to secure. So we're going to grab our needles, and the first step is to take your ears and fold them in half. And we're just going to sew the ends at the bottom here together. I'm just going to go around that twice to give the ears their shape. So I'm going to do that for the first one and then do the same with the second. For this part, I would recommend that you use a couple of pins just so you can get your ears nice and symmetrical. We're going to sit the ears just behind the eyes, so about one row back from the eyes, pretty much directly behind them. So I'm going to put my first ear on, and then I'm going to place my second ear just so I can see how they look together before I make any permanent changes. And that one's a little bit low, so I'm going to move it up a stitch. And that's better. So once your ears are in place, sew those on as well. And if you haven't already taken care of that end from the magic circle, you can weave that in as well. And there we go, strawberry mouse complete. Still got a little bit of stuffing to clean up from all those seeds, but we are finished. I hope you enjoyed making a strawberry mouse. Thank you for watching, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will be back next week with a new video.